All right, so he is in the studio. Seem to be feeling a little better. Um, Last night I came in, and so I have been watching this Dan Huff. I mentioned it a couple times. He has a new YouTube channel, and he, he does 90% of that first video with just his match list, which I have. Same thing, Samson era, and it just got me thinking, and also like hearing his effects and him just using plugins. I'm going to kind of, there was a lot of things on my mind with it. The other thing too, my friend doesn't use a lot of effects ever. He's a producer guy. He doesn't use effects in he records almost everything just dry, and doesn't, so I've got the Strymons here, and I've got the FM9, and I'm thinking a lot about, I don't know, just a lot of the things that Dan was saying, and a lot of things that so in life, for me anyway, I get, I can get like on like a, this is the way it is, this is right, you know what I mean, and I can get very stuck. So it has been a journey to see it. The last lot of years have been a journey to see what else was I wrong about, or what else was, not so much that I was wrong about, but what else is like now I feel differently, or now something, it's different, it's not the same, right? So I'm not just stuck. So this is the message of this video, is like, question what you think you know, what you think is right. And you see that that's not always a hot commodity, especially on the internet, man. You get people that are just like, this is the way it is, and that's it. And then you listen to guys that are like really experienced, and they're much more like up in the air, or fluid, or I don't know, just kind of see, they're not as stuck in what they think it is. And I think that also comes from working with clients. When you work with people all the time, it is different, you know what I mean? It makes you rethink some things. It also makes you have to be flexible. I mean, so does yoga, but in a different way. It makes you have to like be pliable, and also think on the fly, and and okay, all right, you don't like that, or because sometimes people will get really stuck, on their ideas, and then you want to like push your thing on them. It's not always, mixing's like that. It's like, that's why there's a thing called Chase the Rough, because if they've been listening to this mix that the bass player did, at home on Cubase for the last 3 months, unless they absolutely hate it, there's probably things about it now they like and they're used to. So you got to respect that. So anyway, so thinking this thing about effects, and also the thing, anyway, I in the Dan Huff video, I don't know what it's called. I'm watching it on the other computer, so I'll get it here, right here. I'm sorry, I know this video is kind of, I mean, it's cool though. History's mystery. Oh yeah, here it is. It's this one right here. It's called Finding the Right Tone After the 80s, right? So he had his own epiphanies, because, he was the big rack dude, and then all of a sudden, that wasn't cool anymore. And that was my experience. I mean, I was in LA in the mid 80s and late 80s, and, hair and eyeliner and snakeskin boots, and, that was my look, and I was into like, George Lynch and Ingve and all that. And then, 91 hit, 90 hit, and then all of a sudden it was like everything that we were about was the antithesis of cool. Like everything we were about sucked. I mean, and there's a bunch of old 80s dudes in here. You can argue with me, that's on you, but everything we were about sucked. Nothing but a good time. That was not what it was about anymore. You forget guitar solos and, stick twirling and, it just was gang vocals and songs about Jack Daniels and girls and, it was over. So for me, I had to move because I realized like I didn't want to be that guy because I knew a couple of guys. One in particular I always thought about, guys that used to sit in the bar. They would always kind of sit usually in the corner. It's really a true story at the Rainbow and, talk about, Van Halen and the Starwood and, and it's like, it's cool, but I didn't want to be that guy. That didn't interest me. So, after about a year of fighting it, I was like, okay, well, I like Alice in Chains, so we'll start there because I didn't like Pearl Jam or I don't think I thought either way about Nirvana, but I didn't like Pearl Jam and I didn't like Soundgarden. Like the music was like not for me, but I did like Pearl Jam because they kind of sounded like Black Sabbath or I don't know, they had a thing like that. But anyway, so. And hence I'm 61 and I'm still in the music business. So I feel like for myself, I made the right choice. Whether or not somebody wants to be 61 and still in the music business, that's another story. But I am. And I'm here. So anyway, thing in his video is I noticed like he had some reverb on there and he had a little a light ping pong delay. So I was experimenting with tracking with it, and using Axe Effects, and I was getting some decent results. And then I said, "Oh, let me first just see what my favorite delay is for guitar that I have." So I shot out all my delays, Echo Boy, H delay, and repeater. I had a feeling like I'm like, well, I know repeater in Memory Man. Or Memory Guy, they call it Memory Man. I know that this is killer. So, and it was. So I set up this little delay, and I don't know if it's like quarter eighth or it's just milliseconds, but this is what I did. And I had a little drum loop, and it was set at 120 BPM. So it was in time. But anyway, I kind of messed with this, and then I put on this. This is such a sleeper. If nobody knows about this little plate, Sound Toys, I think. Yeah, Sound Toys. I mean, this is such a great, and it's like one knob, and you can low cut it and high cut it, just mix all the way up, maybe a little of that. It doesn't matter. But it's really simple, but it really sounds good. Yeah, I don't even have modulation on. I just put it in a little bit to taste. And then I had the repeater on that slight ping pong, and then I was also thinking because I was like maybe I've had a couple of H90s and I just don't really get on with Eventide sometimes. It's complicated. That software too for the H90 is just. I don't know if I sat with it anyway, because I've been thinking about a lot of stuff, if you haven't noticed, and I also spent a week sick, so it's a lot of time to think about stuff. But anyway, and I was thinking, but then I was like, oh, wait a second, because when I got my H9, you get a license for all of the Eventide plugins, and I'm like, okay, I got that. So I fired up Micro Pitch Shift, and I set it to the H90 Micro Pitch, which is, +9, -9, just slightly knocking the pitch off. So basically, this is what I've set up. I've got the 2 tracks. This is my matchless with my black Strat in position 2, and it's going through. The first track The first one here is the 57, and then the M160. Same kind of thing he had. He has a Warrior 120, 121, 220, 221, whatever it takes. Another movie quote. Nobody said the other one. What was the other one I said? Something. Anyway, what movie? That's easy though. So yeah, and it's the matchless. So this was kind of my thought on like, hey, can I get this sounding cool? So here it is. Here it is. Yeah, with the repeater and the little plate. And the little plate. Repeater and the little plate. It was great. It really sounded great. It made me happy. And I'm letting go. It's like, yeah, I'm not using my timeline. It's okay. It's okay, Lugo. You could put the whoopee down. Another reference to the same movie as the 220, 221. I mean, what's the chance? Off the cuff. That's just money. So then the other thing, and I'm going to leave this up. I'm going to let this one be as it is for right now. I did a double track of I did another pass with the same guitar, the same matchless, and then I also did the supersonic, which I did a little too clean now listening to it. But so the matchless is on the left, the supersonic is on the right. The matchless is through the matchless open back 212 cab. The supersonic is through my 412, which Fender amps through 412 closed back cabs have a certain thing. They have a je ne sais quoi, but they don't sound like Fenders to me in a weird, like, they sound like Fenders, but they don't feel there's like a ooh around them, right? So there's a little ooh around it. But here you go. So now here is the matchless on the left and the Fender on the right, going through the same processing. The repeater, slap, the little plate, and the micro pitch H90. So, and the thing I did too was I took that, and this is really a big thing right here. I took that matchless track and I put it on the original matchless track. So this first matchless track here is me just playing into the matchless. This is me playing into the matchless, same setup, same sound, but now with the 412 in the room with the supersonic. So let's listen real quick. So here is the matchless alone. And here is the matchless alone, but now whatever bleed. It's not pure. Maybe it doesn't matter. But that's just to see that's the bleed, because they're in the same room. So again, the other thing too, the playing is better on the matchless pure. I was more in a better, I don't know, like by the time I got to the second track, I just was flubbing it. I wasn't caring as much or something. But here's matchless. Fender bleed. I can hear the Fender. I love this little riff. I'm going to make a little song. Right there. That just sounds so cool to me. I just got to move from there. But anyway, so there it is. So going back to the 2 amps now. Matchless on the left. Yeah, so again, going, you know, this is it, because I've got to teach her in a few. I probably, if I was going to be doing this, I would probably be doing it with the surreactive loads. Just because that room is just not... and honestly, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of single guitar amp stuff from now on, just because it just bothers me. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. But you know what? If it matters to me, then while I'm working, it obviously matters. So, but there it is. So I'm pretty excited. So yeah, so this is these plugins. Repeater is killer. And if I'm not mistaken, I got this thing for like $29. It's the bomb. Austin Hull, the guy that owns Make Pop Music, the YouTube or the Facebook YouTube thing, blonde-haired pop guy, he was all into this. And when I got it, I was listening because I was watching like some mixing tutorials and he was using it. And I was just like, man, this sounds killer. Way better than H delay and way better to me than Echo Boy. This because it's got weight. Like sometimes I can't get weight out of, I don't know, sometimes Echo Boy just sounds, it sounds cool, but it just doesn't feel like anything. And that's this whole Memory Man thing, you know, it's got like this googe to it, this mojo. So there you go. And then little plate. I mean, come on, one knob. And then if you're a guitar player, you could look into getting this license for the H9 plugins. They're great. I mean, they're really great. I mean, listen to it. Here, I'll kill everything else. Here's just the H3000. I'll turn it up a little. That sounds killer, man. I could put H900 or H300. That's H3000. There you go. Yeah, that sounds great. And then a little bit of, you know, this. Also did that thing where I fed the echo into the reverb. You know, you get it. It's just experimental taste. These are old. Anyway, that one riff. What was that? To get down, down, like Bryan Adams. Remember, was there the duo with Bryan Adams and Tina Turner? All right. And all this, where I'm on now, is coming to an end. I've got an ecstasy coming in, and we're probably going to move out an amp, move in. I don't know. It depends if I like the ecstasy. Listening to Dan's rhythm tracks on the videos with the ecstasy is just incredible. It's just incredible, man. It's not as I don't know. It's a little, it's like sweeter, and I wouldn't say softer, but it's not as like hard as like a Plexi or an 800. It's close. It's similar, but it's different. It sounds so sweet, and listening to it, I'm like, God, that just would sound so great, like under vocals, you know, just a bed. So we'll see. We'll see. We're onward and upward. Peace.